Welcome to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast, the show for women who are seeking more fulfillment in life and simply not getting it from their current situation. We focus specifically on careers, but hey, we spend a lot of time in our careers, so making changes here will definitely create an impact in your overall happiness. I'm your host, Simone Morris, and my mission is to empower women to succeed. I believe that in order to powerfully own your career, you must decide and claim that you want to sit in the driver's seat. You must know that you deserve better and be willing to not only do the requisite work, but be willing to go out on a limb to ensure your success. Each episode focuses on profiling a leader who is clearly demonstrating ownership of their career. Join me and my guests as we explore career journeys and bring you actionable strategies to use to get into the driver's seat for your career. Because ultimately, your career is your responsibility. Let's get into the show. I am doing a new segment that is called Where Are They Now? I just love the idea of catching up with people who have been in the driver's seat. Now, Havilah is super special because she actually was in the book that kicked off in 2018. And Havilah, I have the book in front of me. I want to get right over to your chapter. And well, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And Havilah, at the time I think that you were Miss Louisiana. I had speaker,
yes.
Author, so many wonderful things. Well, catch us up on what you're doing now, actually.
Yes. So since that time, I was Miss Louisiana Universal 2018 at the time that we originally did our interview, and you were creating the book. And I have gone on to finish my reign as queen, even though you will always be a queen.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I actually took some of my own advice and took a huge leap of faith. And I actually moved from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I am actually living out in Los Angeles, California now. So more fully pursuing the entertainment part of my career and doing a lot of commercial work as well as casting and things of that nature in the entertainment world, which is a world that I originally came from and that I absolutely love and is bringing me a lot of joy in my life right now.
That is awesome. Thanks for catching us up. And if you have the book, The Power of Owning Your Career, on page 102/103 is Havilah's story. And what's exciting for me, Havilah, is what you just said is in the book. So you are living on purpose. You are proof of what's possible, your tagline.
Thank you. I think it's so important to speak what it is that you want. And then as those inspired actions come to mind, as those hunches of things to do when you're getting pushed in a certain direction, it's time to listen to that. We only have a certain limited viewpoint of what's possible, but yet the world of possibilities is available to us. So as we get clarity on our vision and on what we want, then you have to take the needed action to actually move on those inspirations. And that's exactly what I did. I had been featured in Goalcast, one of my motivational speeches, and it was all about following your childhood dreams and coming from a place where the entertainment world and being able to be on television and be in commercials and be in films and utilize my gifts and talents in that way had always been something that was of interest to me, even from a young child. And I had done it for many years, but had not fully pursued it to the level at which I was capable of doing. And that came out of fear. It came out of feelings of low self-worth. It came out of not really knowing if I would be successful at it and being afraid of failing. So not really fully going after it. And after the video had released and so many people were being inspired to go after their childhood dreams that they had put under the bed and under the carpet and swept under the rug and hadn't really given its full birth or brought to fruition. It was like, Havilah, you have since high school wanted to be out in California, be fully pursuing your career in that way. And so it's time for you to take that leap. And whether you sink, you swim, you fly, you fail, you succeed, you have to at least put yourself out there and give it a try, because it's something that is deep within your heart and has been within your heart for so many years. And I literally, like, I got on the phone. I made a decision. It was on May 9th. I made the decision. I'm moving to California. And I had no, like, there was no, like, job offer. There was no, like, big thing that was already on the books to happen. It was just like, you were being pushed in this direction, follow it, because the universe has got you. Like, God has got your back. Like, so go for it. And I literally got on the phone with one of my old acting coaches, and I was like, when is your next intensive, or when does your next class start? And she told me it was going to be June 29th. I was like, awesome. I'm moving there June 26th. And so I, like, from May 9th up until the day I moved there, which was June 26th, like, I started formulating my plan, started putting things into place, started reaching out, making contacts, and made it happen. And it has been quite an interesting journey and ride, but I think we're capable of anything that we set our minds to. And I'm so grateful that I took that leap, because otherwise I would have never known. And I feel like my life is continuing to unfold as I step into these new places and spaces and utilize my gifts to the fullest in a labor of love. So I'm really grateful.
That is so beautiful. There are so many things that you talked about that I want to just unpack just a little bit. So I have watched you blossom, Havilah, from social media. And so I completely forgot about Goalcast with 1 million views, and you were going for that and you did it. And I was like, oh my God, I know her. That is just amazing. But Havilah, you did a lot of work on the journey to taking this phenomenal leap. I mean, I don't want to mention your hair, but it's like you kind of like shed your crown and went in a direction.
Yes!
and you did some deep work inside. So tell us about the journey to deciding to embrace your childhood dream and just leap.
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting that you talk about shedding the crown, because I did. I cut all my hair off as well, which is a part of my journey. I went to this very deep meditation retreat because, as you all know, mind, body, spirit, it's all connected. Like, it's all part of the same cycle, and we have to, like, be elevating ourselves on each of those levels: our mind, our bodies, our spirits, and then they all work in connection with each other to help us, like, live the life that we're living or create whatever we want to create. And so I went to this retreat knowing that it was time for me to, like, refuel the spirit. It was time for me to get myself into a better alignment so that I could take those next leaps of faith and take risk and do things that were outside of my comfort zone. And coming out of this retreat, I was so clear, like, because I had, like, long flowing hair, and I was just like, the hair has got to go. Like, it's time for a fresh start, because I felt like my hair was a part of the identity that held me in the position that I was in at that time. And for me to step into a new place, for me to step into a new mindset and create this new person, because every version of you is the version that helps to create the next version. And we have to let go of who we were to become who we are and who we want to become. Like, nothing stays the same. Like, the one thing in life that's constant is change, and that includes us. And so if you're trying to hold on to this old paradigm or old version of yourself, you're never going to grow, and you're actually declining and dying. And so I knew that if I keep with this same version of Havilah, that I won't be able to reach my fullest potential. And that for me is death. So I was like, the hair, I got the inspiration, the thought, cut it off. And then come to find out that there are cellular memories that are held within your hair follicle. Like, you literally, there is a spirit, there's a memory that is in your hair. So with me cutting it off, it gave me a fresh start, and I felt free to now create this new version of myself. And so in this new version was like, this powerful warrior goddess is going to take on the world and do all these things that I said that I was going to do from childhood, and make it a reality. And the road was not easy. Like, it was not like, okay, everything just fell into place. Like, of course, when we look back on things in hindsight, being 2020, you do, and in 2020, we're in 2020. we do, things don't seem as harsh or as bad as when you're actually going through it. And so I went through a lot of shifts and changes and people coming into my life and people falling out of my life that were no longer in service of this new version of who I was becoming. And then people coming into my life who I had to evaluate, like, are you really a good energy to have around me? And so, and opportunities that came that I, took advantage of that were like, this really ain't what I want. So it's been a beautiful journey, and it's also still unfolding. And I am so grateful because I am now in the place that I wanted to be since high school. And I am doing the things that I have wanted to do since childhood. And I'm still growing and still, like, my journey is continuing to unfold. And it's really a beautiful thing. So,
well, let me ask you, on so many levels. I mean, I think about being a Black woman, and the hair thing is a major commitment to not only do it, but to stick to it. And you look beautiful. I mean, it just fits you so much. So, what causes you to stay true to it and keep walking in that place that you have gone to? Because that's huge.
You know what? I love it. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I had finally gotten over because I was always so worried about what are people going to think. Mm-hmm. Like, if I cut my hair off. So, I mean, since I came out as a baby with little to no hair, like, I have not ever had little to no hair. I've always had, like, long hair or, relaxed hair, like permed hair. And so going natural for me, like, it kind of was never even an option in my mind, because it was just like, that's not a societal norm. It's just, I don't know what my head looks like. Like, I could have a lopsided head for all I know. Like, I have no idea. So that was like, no. But after coming out of that retreat, it was so clear. Like, it was undeniably clear what I needed to do. But still, we have the decision to make, or a choice to make, whether we do or not do what we're called to. So even in that, I was just kind of like, I know what I need to do. And I know that this is a part of my next step in my journey. Either I'm going to stay in this comfort zone of what I know, or I'm going to take this leap and cut this hair off, and then everything that comes with that, which I don't know yet what's going to come with that. Even it was interesting because I reached out to my dad and I was like, I'm coming down to Dallas. I'm going to spend some time with you, and I want you to bring me to your barber because I want to cut all my hair off. And my dad was like super supportive. He was like, okay, let's see what it looks like. And when I told my mom what I was doing, she kind of stopped talking to me.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
And so it's kind of like, you never know what people's reactions are going to be about the decisions or choices that you make, but you can't live your life based upon what other people are going to or not going to do. And that was a realization for me. I had been living the majority of my life worried about other people's opinions, worried about how they were going to react, and trying to adjust myself to be in alignment with what other people's perception, or like what's going to please them, as opposed to finding what makes Havilah happy and what's in alignment with my life and where my future is going. And so when I sat in that chair, and even the barber girl, at the last minute, the barber was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, look, I already got enough voices in my own head trying to stop me. I don't need yours. I was like, cut it off.
Oh my gosh, what a journey.
Yes, and upon doing it, I felt the sense of freedom. And there are no words that can describe the feeling that I felt, but as if every weight had been lifted off of me, had been thrown off of me. And it was like, now I get to choose my life. I get to make decisions for myself and do it the way I want to do it. And I started doing that from that day forward. So I know this was a big deal for me like physically because it changed my, appearance, but also spiritually because it changed the possibility of what was available to me because I set myself free.
Oh, I just love that so much. So when we first spoke, you talked about your formula for owning your career is really being open to new opportunities. It's being true to what you're passionate about. And that is exactly what we're talking about today. From the lessons that you have learned on this journey, is there anything that just pops out, resources or actions that have become clearer to you in being successful in owning your career?
Yes. Success is going to come with failure. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think failure is the quickest way to clarity. And it's the quickest way to getting you back onto your right path. And I learned this recently through, I had taken on a job opportunity that had come to me while out here in California. And at first, like, I thought that, oh my goodness, this is going to be such a great opportunity. It seemed like it was in alignment with what I was trying to do and where I wanted to go, only to getting into the depth and the nitty gritty of the work that I was doing, come to find out I didn't like it at all. And it was like this very thing that I asked the universe for, and I stepped into, and I was given with something that I was like, oh my God, I don't like this. But I was committed to it already, and I had a contract in place, and it was just like, oh God, now what? And so it ended up, playing itself out. And I went through a lot of turmoil, like emotionally. I started to understand why people who are in, like, say, like, you're working a 9-to-5 that you do not like, and you're coming home exhausted and tired, and you're feeling, completely drained and uninspired. Well, when you're doing something that you're not in alignment with, that's what happens. It drains you emotionally, it drains you spiritually, it drains you physically. And so it gave me this very clear indication of this is not in alignment with who you are, with where you're going and what you're supposed to do. But I needed the experience of it so that I can not only have empathy for other people who are in that same situation, who are looking to break free and getting to alignment with what their true purpose and calling is, but also for me to have the reality check of, you asked for something, you got it.
Right.
But it wasn't really for you. Right. So it gave me even more clarity on what you ask for, the words that you speak, that the intentions that you put out there, making sure that they're really what you want. And so this is something that just recently ended for me. And I was like, thank God, because like the weight of that was like lifted off, and it was like, it was a season. So it was and even though it felt like a failure, because it was like, I got this and now I don't want it and I don't like it, but it was a very valuable lesson. So I think we can take our failures in life, and if you can look for that seed, like Napoleon Hill talks about, when you can look for that seed of equivalent benefit in any adversity or any like defeat that you're going through, you can find beauty in it. And there's something for you that's a part of your growth process. And now that I'm on the other side of it, and now that I'm free and back to doing what it is that I really love doing, I'm so grateful for that opportunity, for that lesson, because now I'm very clear and I'm way more intentional about what I ask the universe for, because I know that my words have power and I'm going to get what I ask for. So now I focus my mind, I focus my words on that which I really, really, really want, and not from a place of like scarcity or can I get that? Am I good enough for it? But no, this is what I want. And that's what I'm going to have. How it's going to come about, not my job. That's God's job. My job is to get clear on what I want, and then to take the inspired action as it comes. When that hunches come, when the information comes, to take action on it. And my life is continuing to unfold in that way.
Can you talk to us about getting to that level of maturity, Havilah? Because to be able to embrace failure and fear and walk through it and know that it's there to serve its purpose to take you to a greater place, I think there's a level of maturity and work that one has to do on oneself. I know that you did deep work with Napoleon Hill's principles, etc., just to sort of prepare your mind and prepare you for where you are on this journey. Can you talk to us about that process and maybe some tips for the listeners or viewers to gain from that?
Yes. We have all been programmed in some way, shape, or form from our parents, from our teachers, from the people, our peers around us, from our religious leaders. People have implanted in us thoughts and ideas of how life works, how the world works, how careers work, how happiness works, how relationships work, how God works. And so we formulate our life based on those things that we believe to be true. Some of them are true, some of them are not true. And so what I've found over my years of living life, failing, succeeding, trying things, trying to figure out who I am, and who I want to become, that I have, and the one thing that we all have control over is our own mind and what we choose to believe. And so the only way to shift or change a belief is by implanting something new. And so I found through Napoleon Hill's work and like Think and Grow Rich, through Earl Nightingale and like The Strangest Secret, that these were concepts that really resonated with me. Deepak Chopra's work, a lot of things that like Oprah shares, Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction, that so I continually implant within myself by reading books, by listening to audio tapes, going on YouTube, finding motivational videos, and continuing to implant in myself these new thoughts and new beliefs. And I do it on a daily basis. Like, you don't brush your teeth every now and then. At least I hope not. You don't take a bath, every now and then, or you don't eat, once a month. You do it on a consistent basis, because just like you have to feed the body to keep it and sustain it, to keep it strong and going and healthy, you have to feed the mind too. And so it's not something that, I can read this book and I read it 10 years ago and now I'm good for the rest of my life. No, it's a daily ongoing thing. And so when I wake up in the morning, I turn on, matter of fact, there's a video, it's really audio on YouTube. If you just type in Earl Nightingale's 30-day test, and he breaks down The Strangest Secret and gives you a test that you can implement into your life over a 30-day period. I listen to that every single day. I get on and listen to a part of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich every single day. I'm constantly implanting in my mind so I can program myself. One of the things when I started to break away from my old system of belief, because I came from a very religious background. Like I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I believe in our divinity. I believe in our connectedness. And I know that the things that I was brought up with, they served me to a certain extent, but they weren't the whole picture. And I had to start filling in the details and expanding my mindset so that I could continue to grow, because I had only gotten to a certain part of my growth. Nobody can chart out your life path for you. Nobody can tell you exactly how to do it. They can give you principles, they can give you guidance, or even things that work for them, but you're going to have to make the decisions for yourself. You're going to have to take ownership, of your career, of your life, of everything about yourself, if you want to be the one who builds you. And I think that was one of the biggest responsibilities that I had to take on, and one of the scariest responsibilities, because we're used to other people telling us what to do. We're used to other people giving us the answer, as opposed to us realizing how powerful we already are and going inside and finding those answers for ourselves and then making a decision based upon that and owning that decision, because that's the life that you, in the gift of the life that you get to create. So I think daily feeding your mind is essential. And I found when I'm not doing it, because I have fallen out of the pattern, because getting into the pattern or creating the new habit of doing it was also hard, because if you're not used to doing something, you're not used to doing it.
Right.
But like creating a habit of doing it took me so many years. And recently, probably in the last like 3 months, I had fallen out of it, because when I started that new job opportunity, like my whole routine and pattern got thrown off, and I wasn't feeding myself on a daily basis. And that was also a part of why I was suffering so much emotionally and physically, because my mindset started to take on the consciousness of the individuals around me, of the circumstances around me, as opposed to me feeding and creating my own consciousness and mindset and belief system. Like, it's very real, it's very tangible, and it will affect every aspect of your life. So you have to make a choice for yourself and feed you what you want your life to look like. And the rest of the pieces will start to fall in place. So I think that's huge. It has been a huge piece of my own development, is my daily self-feeding and motivation.
Wonderfully stated. For me, it felt like my mantra is own your career, but what you're talking about is own your life and create your own path to move forward. And what I love about your story is the results that you're seeing from it. And talk to us about just the change that has happened from this shift, this new you, this new Havilah.
Oh my goodness. One of the things that like happened for me was, and I got very clear on, and we talked about this, the mind, body, spirit connection, like all of it being a part of this whole that is you. And so when I started back refeeding my mind with the right things and started like putting those positive thoughts back in and seeing how I needed to start to shift my mindset and my focus, I also realized, ooh, you've been feeding your body some pretty ridiculous stuff. Like you've been physically eating, like really, like just crappy foods, which is affecting your energy level. Like you're lethargic, you're getting sick, like all kind of things are happening, which stops your productivity. It cuts your creativity. It stops your, your drive to want to do more and to be better. And so I decided, I was like, you know what, while I'm doing this mental cleanse, I also need to do a physical cleanse. So I actually started on a juice fast. And have been doing that for so today is day 23 of like just juices. I plan on going for a full 50 days.
Wow.
And the clarity of mind, the groundedness that I feel, the connectedness to my power that I feel right now is off of the charts. And things are starting to manifest so quickly because I am now getting into alignment, mind, body, and spirit. And so we have to think and look at all aspects of our life because they're all connected. And if we want to be successful, you got to be successful throughout all pieces of your life.
Well stated. That is so inspiring, Havilah. Thank you for sharing that. So are you doing meditation?
I do meditate. I will sit in silence. I sit and I pray. And I also, again, I listen to my motivational tapes, like right when I get up in the morning. I will also do it right before I go to bed at night, so that it's the last thing that goes into my mind before I go into sleep, so that that's what my mind is continuing to work on. Because just because your conscious mind goes into slumber, your unconscious mind never sleeps. So whatever you put in right before you go to bed is what you're going to keep on mulling over and feeding on all night long. And so I've become very strategic about and intentional about what I let in, especially right before I go to bed.
Right. That sounds awesome. So are you still doing affirmations? I remember you were big into the affirmation space as well.
Yes, very much so.
Right. Actually writing out the affirmations on a daily basis.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I did that. I have not been doing that. Thank you for that reminder.
I
have
remember
not
you were doing that.
Yes. Like I literally have a book where I would write out my affirmation every single day. Or even write out the self-confidence formula from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And I would write that out every single day. And again, that was a part of my programming process, my putting it into myself so deeply that it became an unconscious belief. Because we have, when we first hear about something, you're consciously aware of it. That doesn't mean your unconscious has accepted that as a belief. It's aware of it, but it's not a belief system yet until you, through repetition, through auto-suggestion, when you continually repeat something over and over and over and over and over, and your unconscious mind's like, oh, okay, that's our new reality. Okay, that's what we believe now. Oh, okay, that's what it is, and that's what becomes your life. And so me doing that repetition every single day, writing that out in that physical process of it going through my mind, through my body, onto that paper, it was a part of a creation, because you were literally creating something in its physical form on that paper. And so thank you for that, because I will definitely have to step back into and use that tool, because it's a tool. And all these things are just tools we have in our tool belt. You don't have to do it all, at one time, or, okay, God, I got to overhaul my whole life and do a cleanse and do it. Take one piece at a time. So whether that's, I'm going to start listening to something positive when I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at night. Even that one step will help put you into a trajectory of adding more new good pieces into your life. And so it's all in steps. You're not going to overhaul everything overnight. That would be overwhelming for our system trying to do it all. But you just one step at a time. And that's how life unfolds.
I love that. So as we wrap up, what is next for Havilah?
Oh my goodness. I am super excited about a project that I am doing with Disney coming up.
Oh my goodness. That's exciting. Yes. Oh, that's exciting.
Yes. And also I have a few commercials that are in the works right now, and a film that I portray one of my, oh my goodness, the woman who is a part of this process, who has helped unfold this all. So coming up and premiering at Paramount, I actually play Oprah Winfrey.
Oh my goodness.
So I have some really amazing projects that are about to release, and then some that are in the works, and just continuing to grow, just continuing to use my gifts to the fullest. And actually, because what we put out into the world is what ends up manifesting, and what we continue to put energy towards. And one of the things that I think one of the next phases of my life that I am stepping into and looking to fully embody and let down my walls of vulnerability in, is stepping fully into love, and being able to fully give and receive love in a relationship. And so I think that is kind of my next great frontier that I will be working on.
I love that you put it out there, you claimed it, and you shared it, which is a huge part of the journey. Wow. Wishing you so much success in that space. I know you're going to attract it for sure.
Yes, this queen is open for this king to come. So
wonderful. Well, you know what? We're going to have you back again, because it has been wonderful just catching up with you and hearing all the wonderful things that are happening to you. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and of yourself, your lessons. We appreciate you.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you. And for all that you're doing with helping people own their careers and truly own their lives, because what else is there for us to do but to take that ownership and fully step into our gifts and enjoy the life that we're given?
Absolutely. Life is precious indeed. And Havilah, thank you so much for being a return guest on The Power of Owning Your Career. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. It is my hope that you enjoyed today's episode. You can check out the show notes for this episode on the SimoneMorrisEnterprises.org website by clicking the podcast menu. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and tell a friend or two about it.